Are we rolling?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hi, it's Sally K-Pop X here, and I'm going to show you how to do a quick and easy chicken pesto for those that can't have a lot of red meat, you're watching your diet, yet you want something enjoyable. I'm going to show you how to make chicken pesto because a lot of times it sounds very complicated and hard. So the, uh, the best thing that you can do is just do a lot of preparation. It's all about preparation. So I've got down here, I've got my spinach cut up and then the stems, okay? And I try to sneak celery into everything. So we've got, lots of celery because it's a good filler. And then you have your green onions and your garlic cut up. And I have some more garlic cut up. And I'm going to use some of this on a salad later. And then I've got my mint here. And then even though chicken pesto sauce is basically basil, although I still have some fresh basil from the garden here. Okay, so when you slice your celery, you want to use a little mandolin like this and then just run the stick over and it gets it this really fine shredded. So when you're doing your chicken pesto, you are going to want to put your celery and your kale and your spinach in last. Now a lot of people don't put kale in, so I'm kind of gonna do an experiment this time to see if you can even tell there's a taste there or not. So I'll let you know how it turns out. Okay, so the first step is you want to have your shredded chicken, okay? And we're gonna come over here. And the key to making this taste good is you have like your little jar of minced garlic, and I just use like a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons of this, depending on how garlicky you want it to taste, and if you have, if you don't have to worry about bad breath later on or something, okay? So you want to put a little bit of water in your pan, because I don't like to use oil if I can avoid it. So we're going to turn on the heat, and as you can see, I've got the pasta already boiling. Okay, I need to give this a little stir here. And if you want your water to boil a little bit faster, sprinkle in some salt, because it'll all boil out, so you won't have to worry about the taste. Okay, so because this garlic has a bit of oil in it, it's really important that you put your water in first and then get that garlic in there right away so that there's not an oil water fire effect that's going to happen. Now, this pesto sauce, as you can see, it's got a lot of oil. So I'm going to take a fresh, clean spoon, and you want to kind of stir that around. You don't want this to be like pure oil. This is all pure chopped up basil, this pesto sauce. So right off the bat, I like mine really pesto-y. I like a lot of big burst of flavor. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put some pesto already in there. So as you can see now, it's coming to a fine simmer. And you just kind of want to spread that around a little bit. And that way, the oil doesn't like jump up and splatter, and there's no risk of a fire. Okay, so at this point, you just throw in your chicken. And this is pre-cooked, by the way. And you don't have to pre-cook it if you don't want to, but I'm going to grab some of the onions and garlic. And remember, when a recipe says to taste, it's just like how strong of a flavor you like it. It's a personal thing. So you don't have to worry about getting it just right. It's how you and your family like it. Okay? So now that that's come to like a full simmer and it's kind of starting to boil, I'm going to back the heat off to about 6 and 4 medium heat. Okay, we're just going to mush that around. Okay, so now that you've got your basics in here, now is the time to get fancy with your spices. So right here I have herbs de Provence. That's got like all of your major Italian, like basil, marjoram, thyme, sage, savory, rosemary, everything except oregano. So I'm gonna put a little bit of that in there, a few shakes. Even if you didn't use any spice at all, you really can't go wrong. Okay, and some oregano. This is big and chunky, so it's hard to get it out. Okay, if you want to add a little extra rosemary, you can do that. Whenever I get a fresh batch of celery, I always dry the leaves. I got some celery drying right here, and I've got some pre-dried celery. So I'm going to go ahead and throw some of that in just to boost up the flavor a little bit and crumble that in there. And because the chicken's already cooked, you don't have to worry about stirring and mixing it around or anything too much. You can put some salt and pepper if you like things really salty. And of course, if you're watching your diet, you want to try to omit the salt as much as possible. What I do like to do to boost up the flavor is I just can't seem to stay away from your classic Lawry's garlic salt. So I sprinkle a good amount of that in there because half of it's going to cook right out anyways, you know, in the cooking process. Okay. So that was easy, right? You just kind of throw your main ingredients. You want to leave your celery and your spinach in for absolute last. So, even though you got some spice on your spoon, I like to stick it in here and put like some oregano and some herbs and stuff in with my pasta. Now, I personally don't eat wheat or pasta. I'm just doing that for my husband's sake. But basically, you take this chicken mixture once it's all done with the spinach and everything, and you put it on a bed of pasta. Okay, and that's voila, chicken pesto, pasta. Alright. So if you want to get a shot of this, get a little bit closer, get in the pan here, you can see what this looks like. You know, just ordinary white chicken. You don't have to, you know, worry about it turning black or anything like that. And so you want to let that kind of simmer down for about 10 minutes. However, for the sake of this video, I'm just going to go ahead and put everything in the pot. So what you want to do is, this is where the magic happens. This is where you like officially put in some big heaping teaspoons. A lot of people will say, oh, that's so oily, you know, and don't put that much. I put at least 3 in because I really like full flavor. Naughty, naughty. Okay. Mix that around. Alright. Now you want to turn your heat down on low. And if you want to at this point, you can put the lid on it. You can put the lid on it and let it simmer, you know, for a few minutes. Just make sure that there's enough water and stuff in there. And be careful when you're putting water in the pan because those components I put in are oil based. So you want to be very careful when you put water in there so that you don't have an explosion, because water and oil don't mix with heat. That's how a lot of kitchen fires are started. Okay, so let's come back over here to the spinach. Now, you want to make sure that you twice rinse your spinach every time without fail. I have found ladybugs and lots of just soil and dirt in my spinach. So it's really important that you wash it twice. Rinse it, wash it, take it out, set it aside, do it again. And so every time I've always found a ladybug and God knows what else. So it's really important. You know, and I think maybe 10 years ago there was like this E. coli scare because somebody took a crap out in the farm or whatever, you know. And so I always make sure that even though I'm going to cook it, I twice rinse the spinach. And even though spinach comes bundled up real tightly, you can see that's a lot of spinach. This is just one little bundle, all of this. And this is going to cook down really fast. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to gather up my spinach stems. You want to use all of the spinach. This is what gives it that light, crispy crunch and makes it nice and juicy. You really want to make use of the whole spinach. So we're going to throw that in there. Set that aside. Okay. Mix that around. Now, once you put the spinach and the kale in there, you want to turn your heat down to the very lowest setting or just turn it off all together. Because basically what you want to do, I'm going to put the celery in now. So the celery will basically take on the flavor of anything that you cook it with. And it's a great filler. And you can't even tell it's in there. I put celery in if I do have to have a shake or something like that. I even put celery on my oatmeal, and it's so juicy and delicious. So yeah, celery, they even say that celery treats depression, believe it or not. So celery is like food of the gods. So I'm going to go ahead and put my celery in there now. And as you can see, in just a short amount of time, most of that water and everything is already cooked down. It's ready to go. Quick, easy, simple and easy. Okay, so now I'm going to gather up my spinach. And I'm just going to spread it. And it's good to have a saucepan like that, so that way there's nothing spilling over the sides the way like a normal pan has got a slant to it. You don't really want to use that. You want to use like an actual sauce pan, which professional chefs use. Did you see that? Okay. Alright, get the last bits of everything, and you want to put you can add mint and some fresh basil right on top. You can use it as a garnish, or you can just go ahead and throw it in the pan. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so you don't really want to cook your spinach. What you basically want to do is just put the lid on nice and tight, make sure it's on low, and you just want to wilt it. You don't want your spinach soggy and gross because it's going to shrink up. And so you may end up having to dip into your reserves to make it go a little further because it shrinks down, and then it's like you have nothing in your meal. So be prepared to have a backup stash of spinach in case you need it. So we're just going to wait around, and then you can, like I said, you can turn your heat off. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off on the pasta, because that's been boiling for about 10 minutes. Doesn't take long. When the pasta doubles in size, that's when you kind of know it's done. Or you can just take a piece out and try it. But I've been doing this for years, so I can just tell by looking that it's done. So don't keep looking, don't keep peeking and looking and is it done yet? Is it done yet? Just let it sit for 5 minutes and just leave it alone, but don't forget it, okay? Don't walk away and forget it. And so, there's not really a whole lot of things for me to talk about while I'm waiting for the magic to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the video for now, and then I'm going to shoot a picture of what it looks like once it's all cooked down. And then at the end, you can add salt and pepper. I would just set out the salt and pepper shakers and let everybody just add their own. Just ignore what any recipe says about salt and pepper to taste, because what does that even mean, And what it means is, your personal taste. So some family members might like things really salty, or you may be trying to cut salt completely out of your diet. So just leave it alone. Let people do their own thing afterwards. And then, if you want, if it doesn't seem like the flavor's kind of bland, go ahead and put another spoonful of pesto sauce in it. Some people say that you only need a little teeny bit because this is kind of triple concentrated. I'm gonna warn you. But I like it real strong, full, and bold. So that's it for now. Sally K-Pop X signing out. I hope you enjoyed this video, and watch it again if you need to and take notes. Okay, Sai Jen, bye bye.